You guys, welcome back. PAS here. We're trying to keep busy and keep you guys entertained by doing some arts party projects at home. And so right now, it's springtime, the birds are coming out, and it's really nice to be outside right now. The weather's gorgeous. So what I am envisioning is a couple of projects that we can do to kind of get the yard ready. If you have any ideas, message me, let me know. I would love to do as many of these projects as we can, just so that way we can get outside a little bit. I came up with this one this last week, and after looking at a couple of different versions online, I thought this one would be quick, easy, and it's extremely cute. So you have room for your bird seed, and then they've got a little post, and this is for the smaller birds. If you wanted to get a 2-liter bottle, or a juice bottle, or any kind of big milk jug or anything like that, you can upscale this project, and you could make it nice and big to fit pigeons or whatever other size birds we have around here. But this one I've got for the little finches that are around our yard. And so if everybody is ready, we will get started. First, you want to have some kind of plastic bottle. Make sure that you get as much of the label off as you possibly can. So I took the label off, saved the bottle cap. I'm going to be using that. And we're also going to you'll need some scissors. If you have any that have a sharp point, that's awesome. If not, you'll want to get a utility blade or X-Acto knife or any kind of sharp kitchen knife, anything like that. Something with a point where you can stab a slit into. Okay, you can see that. There you go. So we're going to need to make some openings for our scissors to fit into. You'll also need a Sharpie, a wide brush, and one a little bit smaller. I think this is an inch, and this is an 1/8 inch. The number 10, yes. Number 10, number 19. Now you can do as many colors as you want, but to keep it simple today, I am only going to be doing 2 colors. So I'm going to do a base color for the entire thing, and then all the little accents will have a secondary color. And then, of course, you're going to have white for your little dots. So today I'm doing this beautiful yellow and purple. And these are acrylic colors. If you have some old latex paints from redecorating your house or something like that, you can definitely use those. Temperas, actually, I don't know if they'll work. They might not. They might end up washing out just in the rain, because they are they are water-based. You could also use Sharpies if you don't have paints, and you want to decorate. You can definitely use Sharpies on this. It'll take a little bit longer, but I'm pretty sure you'd come up with something really, really cool. So let's see, and string. So I got yarn, string, yarn, twine, whatever you have. The whole point of these is to kind of look around your house, find stuff that you already have, so you don't have to go out, you don't have to go to the store, and you can just do something fun and creative without, with social distancing, and then a stick. So I got this little twig outside, and it's just, I want to say about 6 inches, and it's a really narrow little stick, and that's it. Alrighty, so let's get started. So, first thing you're going to want to do, and this is going to be kind of hard to see, I can tell right now. Let me move the light. So, with your Sharpie, you are going to want to start lining out your little doorway. So I have, oh gosh, I want to say about 1 inch from the bottom of your bottle, or a little bit more, 1.5 inches from your bottle. You're going to want to make a straight line across. It does not have to be perfect. So you'll just make that nice and dark. This is going to end up getting cut. And then we're going to make an archway. Now, it can be an arch, it can be a square, it can be a nice big triangle. Whatever shape you want to make it, go for it. This is your bird feeder. So for me, I'm just going to make mine a nice little arch. And like I said, it does not have to be perfect in any way. It can be crooked, it can, as long as it's got this nice little opening where the birds can have access to the bird food. It's a nice big opening here. Okay. Now, before we start cutting, I want to get everything that we're going, all of our patterns on here. So if you see here, I've cut multiple little pieces out every 1/4 inch or so. So we're going to start drawing our little 1/4 inches. So these are only going to go just a ways up the neck, because they're not going to be cut off. We're just going to cut them out so that way they protrude. So I have one here that's triangle shaped. And then I have one that's kind of like a petal, like a little curved shape. So these you can also have fun with. You can make them however you'd like. You can alternate them. You can do rounded, pointed, rounded. You can make them with a little circle on the end. Just remember, we're going to be cutting them out, so the more intricate your shape, the longer it's going to take you to finish the job. But that's fine, because this is just to get you going. You can take your time with it. And you see they're not much bigger, wider than your pinky. So if you want to use your pinky as a space marker, so you've got finger, you just want them about fingers width apart. And just do that all the way around your bottle. And I think I'm going to alternate this one. So I have round and and pointy. And you just go around the bottle until you come full circle. And they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be exact. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a little... Okay. Oh, we're also going to want to get our bottle cap. And you'll want to mark 2 little holes right across from each other. So that way we know where to cut. See those? Same thing with our little post. Right under your doorway, as center as you can, we're going to make a little dot. And as you're looking through it, you want to match that dot. We're going to cut those out too for your post. Okay. And that should be it for your Sharpie. So now we are going to start cutting. Be very careful. Kiddos, make sure you get your grown-ups to help you. We don't want anybody to hurt themselves. If you have an X-Acto knife or utility blade, you can puncture your bottle just to make a starting point for your scissors. So, and you can do that all the way around. You can use your X-Acto blade to cut if you'd like. If your scissors just aren't sharp enough. Or if you have pointy scissors, just this thing, it's really sharp, like these, you actually could use these to pop a hole into your plastic bottle. Just be very, very careful. Don't push too hard. You don't want to go all the way through and stab your hand. Make sure that when you are puncturing it, your hand is not directly behind the bottle, so that way you don't risk stabbing yourself, because that would not be good. But I found the best thing to use is your X-Acto blade. And so you're just going to get all your little marks started. And then we'll start cutting. Just giving your scissors a starting point. Okay? Once you got all of those, you're going to want to just kind of get your scissors in there. Trying to figure out which way is the best way to show this. You're going to want to get your scissors in there and just cut that little doorway out. You take your time with this. kiddos, make sure you have some help. I don't want anyone cutting themselves. And voila, we got our first cut done. So you've got your little doorway. You can carefully run your fingers along it. Make sure that you don't have any little barbs that might hurt the birds. If you do, you can trim them off. You can also get a Brillo pad or some sandpaper and kind of rub them off. So we're gonna continue going on our cutting. So when you're going to be cutting your I don't even know what you'd call these. When you're going to be cutting your little your little decorative parts here, your little petals, you're going to want to just cut up far enough into the neck. You're not going to cut them all the way off, just a little bit. And from there, what we're going to do is curl them. So if you see what I'm doing, I'm kind of pressing that plastic and curling it. You can roll it, just reshaping it. Now, if you have one of the bigger, thicker bottles and that plastic is really, really thick, you might want to put a little heat to it. You might want to, run a lighter underneath it just to soften it up, and then very carefully roll it as it cools. You see? Easy peasy. So go ahead and do that with the rest of your little petals. Make sure to cut them out nice and carefully. So whether or not they're rounded or they're tipped, you'll just want to do the exact same thing all the way around. And it's up to you, like I said, if you want to curl them upward or you want to curl them downward or to the side. The plastic is very, very malleable, so have at it. We'll curl this one the other way. So this one I'm curling down. You can see. And so I'm going to just bend that and have it curled downward. So there's a little fun, little difference there. And you want to just keep on going all the way around. I finished these. You guys finish yours, and then we'll move on to our paints. If you want a longer petal here, you can go further up into your neck with it. That is up to you. Just be careful, don't go all the way up, because we still need that sturdy support to hang it. And if you cut all the way up, it will give, especially in the Sakura winds. Okay, curling them in and out. If you missed last week's project, make sure you go down, scroll down on our page and find that. That was a really fun Japanese carp streamers project. And that was a really great one that you could do with your family. Make sure you check it out. And it's a nice, colorful addition to your yard. You can also check it out on YouTube. We are at nmtpas@gmail.com. And we've posted all sorts of fun stuff from the years past. Some of our old concerts and performances. So make sure to check those out. And once you've cut everything and you've got them all curled, we are going to want to prime this with a base coat of white. Now, I put white on it because it makes the colors more vibrant. But if you wanted more of a stained glass look, you can totally, just paint it with your paints and not worry about whether or not it's opaque. So I'm just going to start coating the whole thing with white paint. Now the great thing about acrylics is they dry really fast. So your little petals, you want to make sure that you cover both sides with white. I'll try to get under and inside those. Now this first coat, this white coat, does not need to be very thick at all. It could just be a nice light brushing. The thicker you make it, the longer it's going to take to dry. It's just kind of the base. Does not have to be pretty. It's gonna get covered anyway. Make sure you get the tips. Just use a tiny bit. I'm going to initially cover everything. Let's get to this. Don't forget the bottom. And so by the time you make it all the way around, it should be close to dry. And any spots you might have missed. And like I said, if you don't have any paints, you can definitely use markers. Markers would work great on the plastic as well. You could even paper mache this. Decoupage this. That would be a really interesting look too. You want to clean your brush. And once you feel that's fairly dry, you're going to want to start in with your other color. So like this one, I did it says it's violet, but it looks more like a magenta. So I'm going to use yellow this time. And so with this one, you're going to want to coat everything except your petals. So just work around the petals and paint right above where they start to bend. So I'm not hitting the petals. And it's fine if you're not using acrylic paints. Whatever you have at home. The only thing I can think of is watercolor might not work for this. Temperas might be okay. Latex will definitely be fine. Because we are going to be putting them outside. So, what do you know what kind of paints you have, Sarah? Okay, well, if you're using washables, I think. Oh, hey, Allison. If you're using washables, I think what you could do is maybe if you have clear nail polish, or I'm trying to think of something else that you might have that might not be a. That's just kind of a home thing. If you put a layer of clear nail polish on this afterwards, you will definitely get to seal the paint on, and it won't come off in the rain. So you might want to give that a shot after you're done. After everything dries, so I'm pretty sure you have clear nail polish. The other thing would be, like a clear spray paint sealant. But then again, that I don't know how many people actually have that. And yeah, use a hair dryer. A hair dryer is great on low to dry it. And take your time. This will be posted, so if your paints don't dry right away and you're worried about not being able to finish the project in the time that we have right now, you can always just continue at home. And that works perfectly. So I've made sure to stop right at my petal bends. And then I'm going to take my paint and just paint everything else except those petals. And if you get some on your petals, it's not the end of the world. We're going to end up putting another color on those, and if it dries, it'll just go on top of that. So don't worry too much about it. It's a very, very forgiving project. And the number of layers of paint that you put on here will determine how much light gets through your bottle. So like I said, if you want it to have that kind of stained glass look, you can choose a light layer. A light layer of paint. If you want it to be really bright, then you make sure to put that white base coat on. And then after your first coat of paint dries, you can add another coat of paint. So, yeah, I'm glad you're having fun, kiddo. This is fun, and it's really cute because the birds seem to really like it. I've been caught a pigeon trying to get in on it, and I was like, maybe I need to make a bigger one. He's kind of muscling the little tiny finches out of the way. So you're going to get it all nice and covered. So this coat, you definitely want to cover things a little more thoroughly. Try to get all the little cracks and crevices. Some of your bottles might have designs on them. Bevels and such, so just make sure to cover all of those. There you go. Awesome. So now, so just if you can't get it to dry all the way while we're doing this, don't worry too much about it. You know, just I cannot find a hairdryer. Well, just you know, just kind of wave it around a little bit, see if that'll work. If to kind of dry it out. If not, you can watch the rest of it, and once your bottle is dry, then you can pick up where you left off. No worries. Like I said, this will be on our New Mexico Tech Performing Arts Series Facebook page for access for everybody whenever you want to come back to it. So don't worry too much about not keeping up. So next, I'm going to paint my little petals. I'm getting my smaller brush just because I don't want to get paint anywhere else. And I'm just going to start by going down from where we bent it and covering all that white. Now, depending on the color, you might have to do multiple coats. Or, well, depends on how bright and vibrant you want it. So I'm being very careful not to get it on my yellow, just because I picked two very contrasting colors here. And that's it. You want to paint that. and just go around and paint all your petals. You can use more than 3 colors. You can alternate if you wanted to do pink and blue petals, black and white, blue and green, whatever colors you want to do, however you would like to make it. Just make it your own, make it cute, make it fun. I want to see pictures. I want you guys to post your pictures after you get them up in your yard. And so I am actually going inside to get that very bottom of my petal. So if you can see there, I'm just brushing the inside so that way I get right up inside my petal. Your petal can be one color on the front and one color on the back. Have fun with it. Make it your own. And just keep going all the way around. Perfect. Let me know if anybody needs more time. Or if you need me to go back and explain something else. This is a nice, easy, fun project. You can make a whole bunch of these at a time. I was asked the other day if a shampoo bottle would work. And yes, a shampoo bottle would work great. Any kind of bottle, any kind of plastic bottle works for this. And the great thing about it is there's no hot glue, no complicated cuts. It's nice and straightforward. So those curved ones, I'm just sliding my brush underneath and going side to side. It's because they are a little tougher to get to on the inside. So I'm just kind of brushing sideways right across. Voila. Now you can leave it here like this, or you can add another coat. That is completely up to you. Personally, I think I'm going to leave it just as it is. So now, before we go any further, I want to make sure we get our post in. So my little dot that I made is right here, and I'm just going to stab that and kind of turn my knife around so I can make a hole, kind of dig that out. Just like that. And make sure that my twig fits in there. And so I will do the same thing on the back, so that way I can push it all the way through. I'm just twisting, digging that out, widening that circle. And then I will reach inside and push my little twig all the way through. So you can find the twig outside, pull one off of the tree, or you can get a bamboo skewer and do the same thing. Any kind of little post that you might be able to find. I like using something from outside just because it gives it that kind of fairy garden look. Alrighty, so now to decorate it. So here on this one, as you can see, I did a bunch of dots, and what I used was a pencil. So I just got my pencil, dipped it in white paint, and just pressed it and lifted it. So press and lift to make your dots. Do that again closer. So I just added white paint to the tip of my pencil, and I pressed and lift. So you can make any kind of pattern you want. So let me move on over to the yellow one. So because I'm using yellow and the white won't really show up that great on the yellow, I'm going to get my purple that I used on my petals, and I'm going to use that to make my dots. So I'm just gonna make little dots, and so for this I just lined the doorway. Give me it's easier to see on this one. So we just line the doorway with paint. And then proceeded to dot around it. Now you can use anything with a tip. You could even pull out your little twig and use that to line your doorway. That works for your dots as well. So anything that's got a tip on it will work. So now I also put little windows. So what you'll want to do, once your paint is nice and dry, for the windows I use little circles on this one. And I think on this one I'll make little square windows. So I'm just going to make a nice little box right next to my opening. It's a nice little square. And inside that, I'm just going to make a T. And I'll do that on both sides, just so they look balanced. Now make sure your paint is dry before you do this, because you could potentially ruin your Sharpie. You can also use your Sharpie to make your dots. If you're using a bright color like mine, and you want that high contrast, you can also dot things out with your Sharpie. The embellishments are all you. So if you wanted to line your door and make it a little more distinctive, you can use your Sharpie, or you can use some more paint in your contrasting color. It's up to you. Just like this one, it's got the yellow on the doorway. I know I'm skipping around a lot. But yeah. So I would also, because I've got these two contrasting colors, I would grab a little bit of white from my window and just kind of just do a little streak and just kind of tap it so it looks like light's coming through. Someone asked if you could cut these out. You could totally cut these out. That would work too. Just it'd be a smaller cut, and you just cut the little squares out. That'd be really cute. So you can keep going on your design colors. Your little dots, you can just make them all the way around in whatever pattern that you'd like. Hi, Elena. So I'm just going to use some of this purple to show you here. And I'm going to make dots all the way down. So you can decorate it and add your little embellishments. You can, I did some flowers. I bordered each of the little petal windows. Added a little bit to the bottom. Just give it some cute little accents. It's up to you. I'll give you guys a second. So after you've done all your little patterns and embellishments, you can put that to the side to dry. And then we're going to get our bottle cap and our string. So depending on how high up or where you're planning to put it, you'll want to cut a certain amount off. I'm not going to put it too high up on my tree, so I want it to be, you want it ideally to either hang from a branch or be a little further up where the birds feel safe enough to stop and have a snack. If it's too low, they won't notice it and they'll be a little wary because of, you know, cats and dogs and all the other fun creatures that like to chase birds. So I've got a nice, I want to say it's about 2 feet of string here, and so that we will end up doubling over on itself. So I've got roughly a foot, and that would be enough for me to hang it on one of my top branches. You'll want to get your bottle cap and those 2 little dots that we made before. You'll want to puncture them. So I'm using my X-Acto knife. You can use your scissors, you can use any kind of blade that you might have. Now be very, very careful. I do recommend putting it down and puncturing it, just because I don't want anybody to end up slicing their finger. And then you're just going to want to turn and twist so that way you get that opening. So you do that one more time. So make sure you put it down so that way your fingers are not behind it. And then you can turn and twist to expand that opening. Perfect. Now you're going to want to clean all the excess plastic out of that hole. Because we are going to run our yarn in there. So if you have, excuse me, if you have a yarn needle, that's awesome. If not, you can, I still have some plastic in here, you can push it through with your fingers. Now, if your hole is a little tiny and you can't get it through, you can put it up against the hole and get your pencil that we used earlier and push it through with that. And then grab it on the other side. So, let me pull it back out and show you here. So I'm just kind of turning it and turning it, twisting it, just so that way it stays together a little bit. And then I'm going to put it right up against the hole that I made. And then I'm going to get my pencil tip and just push through. And so then I will be able to pull it out on the other side. Yep. Just like that. So now you've got your bottle cap. So what you're going to want to do with those two ends is tie them together. Make sure you double knot it. Double, triple. Just make sure that no matter what, it is not coming apart. You got a nice little knot right there. And then we will just pull so that knot is nice and tight and secure. You got your knot, it's not going anywhere. And you can paint your bottle cap if you'd like. You can use another color to match it, or you can leave it just the way it is. And, oh, my post. And then your bottle cap goes right on top. And voila! You are done. So after decorating and embellishing, you want to set it on up in your tree and fill it with birdseed and wait and watch. And you'll get a lot of cute birdies coming on by for a snack.